Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing another movie review for you all. This movie is a drama slash comedy from Russia. Russian language English subs, released in the year 1997, directed by Alexei Balabanov, and this film is called Of Freaks and Men. So Of Freaks and Men is set in 1930s. We have a Russian family that are very innocent, but they are being infiltrated by some pretty evil men. So there's a partnership of individuals that are basically doing pornography. And so when this family lose the head of the family, the father, he passes away, these two infiltrate this family and trick them into doing things that they don't want to do, but unfortunately they pass the point of no return and now they're going to be exploited beyond belief. So what happens at that point on is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts of Freaks and Men. Alexei Balabanov is a very, very good director. He's a very well-established director and he had a lot of accolades. And so he made a movie called Cargo 200 that was absolutely sinister. It was very dark, but I really liked it. I appreciated it for what it was. And so Alexei Balabanov is a very good director, but for a very acquired taste, because he shows you the ugliness of humanity in a way that is unflinching and unforgiving. And so if you don't like that kind of thing, this is a director who's really going to offend you. And so Cargo 200 did it, and that's exactly what Of Freaks and Men does. This is a film that was very, very cruel. It's the exploitation of innocence, and it's basically a scathing sort of look at the pornography industry. You know, pornography, it does exploit a lot of people, and so it's all about money, and it doesn't matter what you do to an individual. If you're making money, that's the main thing, and that's what Of Freaks and Men does very, very well. And it has a lot of black humor in this movie that I thought was very nasty. And so the cold underbelly of Alexei Balabanov is evident in this movie. Although it's completely different from Cargo 200, it's still a very disturbing look at the ugliness of humanity. So you have this beautiful family, the very innocent family, and so you like them straight away, but then you have two very evil individuals. And there's one individual in particular that just put a chill down my spine, because he just has that look of pure filth, you know, pure sleaziness. And these two individuals, when they go into this family, they don't care what this family are. They don't care that these people are very innocent. If they see an opportunity to make money, they're going to do it. And so the way that this family is just torn apart, I just thought it does it in a funny way, but it does it in a very guilty way, because you feel really bad for laughing is actually what's going on. And so it's a very shocking film in a very subtle way. It doesn't try overly to be an offensive film. It doesn't try too much to be a shocking movie. You know, you have films like a Serbian film where it goes over the top to try and provoke you. This is a film that does it in a very natural way, and that makes it even more disturbing. And so this is a film that's shot in a very grainy way. It's a very seedy sort of way, and there's a lot of desperation in the film. And again, that is the scathing sort of critique of the porn industry. You've got a lot of people who are very desperate, and it's the exploitation of that desperate sort of nature of individuals that can really force them to go to a point of no return, and all of a sudden your life is completely ruined. So you're basically watching these families' lives being destroyed by two very evil individuals, and as the situation starts to complicate, I never felt as though the innocence was going to win. I always felt the ugliness of humanity, and this is something that the director does very well. He shows you that, you know, the good guy doesn't always win, and so ugliness is always there. No matter how much you try and shun ugliness, it's always going to be waiting in the corner of the room, and it's going to hit you when you don't want it to. You wish it wasn't there, but it is there, and Alexei Balabanov forces you to watch it. And so you have something that is very good and something that's very evil, and unfortunately in reality, evil doesn't always lose. And so as this movie starts to progress, I thought, as I said, it was actually quite funny in parts. I thought the script was very, very unique. The characters are very unique. As I said, one of the villains is just really evil looking. He's actually very scary looking. And I thought as though there were some moments and interactions between characters that was very off-putting. And it does have, you know, that chuckle. I wouldn't say it's a laugh out loud film, but there are some chuckles here and there. But I always felt guilty for laughing, and that's exactly what this director's trying to do. He's trying to force you to laugh at something that you don't want to, but it's just the way that this director makes his films, you just can't help but laugh. And that's the true essence of dark humour, and this is dark humour of the purest form. So the overall ending, I thought the ending was actually quite haunting. I'm not going to tell you what happens, but it's just a director who is throwing evil at you, and because you don't quite know what's going to happen, there's a lot of unpredictability. And so it's a very, very unique director in what is a very unique film. Be very, very careful. If I have criticism of the movie, as I said, it is very, very ugly, so be very careful. It's not a movie that's graphic in its nudity or its violence. It does have nudity in it, but it doesn't have explicit sort of sexual content from a film that you would think, you know, dealing with pornography. I thought as though it actually very respectful, but as I said, it's very cruel because you just see innocence completely corrupted, and the sense of desperation being exploited by those above. It's just a wolf in sheep's clothing, and unfortunately you just can't help but look. It's got a very hypnotic, captivating quality about it, but at the same time you feel guilty for watching it. But that's exactly what Alexei Balabanov is all about. So if it sounds like your kind of thing, go in there with a lot of caution. This is a very unforgiving film. It doesn't make any apologies for it, and so if you are offended, that's exactly what the director wants. But for me, I can appreciate directors like this. Unfortunately, Alexei Balabanov has since passed, but I've got other movies of his. There's Russian gangster films that I have that I'm going to review a little bit later. He's a very unique director, and if you are a fan of extreme cinema, this is the director that I would highly recommend. As a result of all that, I'm going to give Of Freaks and Men 4 stars for the unflinching look at the realities of life. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.